Trump and his allies are suddenly downplaying the First Amendment. When Elon Musk took control of Twitter in 2022, he famously declared himself a free speech absolutist. He reinstated accounts that had been banned for spreading misinformation, violent rhetoric, and harassment. If it wasn't illegal, he signaled, it was fair game. Musk expressed a very different view this week. The path forward is not to mimic the ACLU of the mid-90s. White House advisor Stephen Miller posted on X, formerly Twitter, referring to the epitomic free speech absolutist organization. It is to take all necessary and rational steps to save Western civilization. Musk responded with one word: yes. In other words, free speech absolutism? Not so much anymore. We've got a civilization to preserve. Musk is hardly alone in this sentiment, as President Donald Trump and his administration have threatened an increasingly harsh crackdown on the political left in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination last week. A growing number of allies have suddenly expressed a narrower view of Americans' free speech rights. Yes, they say, they support the First Amendment, but they also suggest the times call for a new approach, one that's often at odds with their former rhetoric. The other case in point is Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming. In an interview with Semaphore, Lummis was remarkably blunt about her own sudden recalculation. Under normal times, in normal circumstances, I tend to think that the First Amendment should always be sort of the ultimate right, she said, and that there should be almost no checks and balances on it. Then she added, I don't feel that way anymore. The Wyoming senator suggested a crackdown on people saying insane things and connected it to political violence like Kirk's assassination. Just 2 years ago, Lummis introduced the Free Speech Protection Act, which would have barred the government from directing online platforms to censor constitutionally protected speech. If we let the Biden administration restrict our freedom of speech, she said at the time, there is no telling what other sacred freedoms they will come for next. Lummis said out loud what plenty of others have suggested. High-profile Trump allies have also downplayed the importance of protecting free speech rights at this moment, suggesting drastic times call for drastic measures. Attorney General Pam Bondi signaled Monday, in comments she later tried to clarify, that the government would prosecute people for hate speech. This despite the Supreme Court having affirmed over and over again that hate speech is protected. There's free speech, and then there's hate speech, and there's no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society, Bondi said on a podcast. She later claimed she didn't mean to refer to hate speech broadly, but to speech that's inciting violence. On Fox News on Thursday, former Trump White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany said ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, amid clear pressure from the Trump administration, has nothing to do with the First Amendment. For all the concern about the First Amendment, I mean, they are apoplectic, Jesse, McEnany told host Jesse Waters. What about all the amendments that Charlie Kirk lost? Because Charlie Kirk has no amendments right now, none. And perhaps most strikingly, Trump suggested Thursday that Kirk himself might suddenly reevaluate his views on free speech if he were alive today. Charlie said that there was no such thing as hate speech, Fox host Martha McCallum told the president in an interview. She was citing a 2024 Kirk quote in which he said hate speech does not exist legally in America and is protected by the First Amendment. Yes, Trump said, before adding, he might not be saying that now. Trump later complained that free speech has come to mean you're like able to do anything. This exchange is particularly remarkable. Kirk's past comments about free speech are a problem for Trump's new crackdown. Kirk was a free speech absolutist, if there ever was one. Many, including some on the right, have argued that what Bondi was saying on Monday and what Trump is trying to do are anathema to Kirk's views, and it's all being justified in his name. And the fact that Trump now feels the need to explain away Kirk's comments on hate speech suggests he's headed in a decidedly un-Kirk direction on the issue of free speech. That's a shift from where he and his allies had been, even earlier in this term.